Alright, out here tonight working on the Turbo Camaro a little bit. I got this filler panel made. Definitely not my specialty at all, but pretty happy with the way it came out. This is the first try, so first attempt. It's pretty decent. I'm sure I might change it around down the road, but I'm happy with it. It's just kind of thin gauge aluminum. I want to say this stuff's like 20 thousandths, maybe 25 thousandths thick. But I just traced it out with cardboard and went back and just kept trimming on it until I got it to fit where I was happy with it. Put some trim lock around here because it is up against here. But if I trimmed it anymore, it makes it droop. And I wanted to keep a good angle on this. So happy with that. It's bolted in here. Bolts in here, bolts there, and bolts right there. So what that's going to do is, I'll show you guys. I explained it in another video. Is we have this set up kind of like factory. Is the air hits the front of the car, goes underneath and hits this air dam, and then it travels upward, goes into the intercooler and through the radiator. Well, if you look, that red piece up there that you see is actually the bottom side of the panel that we made. So what that does is we're forcing the air as it goes up. It doesn't just come out the top. It travels through our intercooler and through our radiator. So I really think that's going to help. I never had that lower air dam down here back on the car. That's been off for probably like 8 years. So we're going to use that to scoop the air, force excuse me, force it through the intercooler, through the radiator. I think it's going to help the car run cooler. Should help a little bit with our intake air temps, keeping that intercooler a little cooler. Before we had the front bumper cut out, so that's why we were doing this a little bit differently. Honestly, I don't think that worked very well, and I do think this has the potential to work a lot better. So we'll do some testing and see how that all works out, how that plays out for us. But yeah, just kind of chipping away at things, checking over stuff. Last video, we got the fuel pump all done. Fired the car up, everything's going good there. Kind of the next stages is going to be just really going through and checking over the car really well. I really got to just go through everything. I just like to go through all the nuts and bolts of the car, just make sure nothing's loose, make sure I'm not overlooking anything. This is going to be, the first outing of the year, and you don't want to make any mistakes on checking over the car. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing next. Not sure what the first track outing is going to be yet. What I'm likely going to do is get the car all checked over, probably drive it around on the street a little bit, get some miles on it, recheck it, and then do a track outing after that. I like to kind of build up my encouragement on everything by driving it around on the street and checking it all over that way, and then go out of town on a trip. But another thing we're going to be working on is the passenger seat. So I did order the seat. We should have it in the next couple days, so I'll get that back installed. We used to have the fiberglass seat over here, and they're just garbage. I mean, I rocked them for a lot of years, but I don't really care for them, so it's time to put a passenger seat back in it. It's going to be a little bit close here, but I think we're going to be just fine with the parachute release there. So we got a couple things we got to check just to make sure we have plenty of clearance. But really, it's just going to be kind of going through the car and checking things over. Got to go through my notes. I try to make good notes on where we left off, so that gives me a good idea where to pick up from. Going to be going through all that. Trying to think what else. There's a few little touch-up spots. I'm going to just like engine bay paint work and stuff. Just a bunch of little odds and ends. But yeah, that's really about it. I just wanted to show you guys. We got this panel made. Came out pretty well. Like I said, I'm no expert in this stuff. And really my main tip for this video would be everyone going out that's going to be getting their cars out for the first time this year, make sure you check over everything. I really recommend literally checking every nut and bolt, all your suspension components, all your wheels, the brakes, fluids, make sure you don't have any leaks. Make sure you get the antifreeze out of your cars, the guys that are running antifreeze, things like that. But just don't make any stupid mistakes. We all do it, but you can definitely minimize that quite a bit by just going through and checking over your cars really well. Make sure all your belts are good and none of your hoses are dry cracking or anything like that. All your fittings are tight. There's just lots of things to check over on these cars. I highly recommend making a list. All sorts of different manufacturers makes like check sheets that you can go through. We use them a lot in the Circle Track stuff, so look around online. I'm sure there's a lot of templates for that. And just go through your cars. Make sure you check them over really well before you get out there and make a mistake or anything like that. Most of the time I will initially make like an 1/8 mile hit as well, shake the car down and kind of build myself up. Same reasoning, you just want to make sure you're not forgetting anything. Absolutely, could we take the car out and just blast a really fast pass? Sure, like I don't doubt it at all. In 10 minutes here, I could have the car ready to make a really fast pass. But I'm trying to minimize my chance of making mistakes and minimize the chance of something, bad happening. So I really like to spend the time to go over the car, and that's really my point. You can absolutely get away with some lack of maintenance and lack of checking things over for a while, but that absolutely always catches up to you eventually. So I think my biggest message would be just get out there, check your cars over really well before you get out racing this season. Hopefully we see you guys at the track. Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep it saucy.